common question I get from people who are thinking about making a move to Minnesota is, what are the winters like? How cold does it get? How much snow do we get? How long does it last? So in this video, I'm gonna break down everything you need to know about winter, and be sure to stay till the end because I'm gonna give you a tip on how you can avoid your basement from flooding from spring snowmelt. If you're thinking about making a move to Minnesota, please feel free to reach out to me. You can call me or text me or hit me up on social media. I would love to help. So how long does winter last? Well, it can start as early as October and end as late as the end of April, and sometimes it even lingers into May. But most of the time it starts in November. The beginning of it isn't so bad. It usually stays around 30 or 40 degrees in November and then just gradually gets colder as we get through winter. And January and February are going to be the coldest months. So it has gotten down to -65 with the wind chill and -45 even without the wind chill. But thankfully those days aren't super common, although the average high temperature in the winter is 28 and the average low is 7. Those coldest months in January and February, I would expect more from like -20 to 20. Every year you're gonna see all the news channels taking a cup of boiling water and throwing it up in the air to show you how quickly it evaporates, as if Minnesotans weren't already aware of how freaking cold it gets in the winter, but never fails, they do it every year. When it does get that cold in Minnesota, it's really important to layer properly. This is something that I didn't learn until probably a year ago, which I know is pretty pathetic because I'm a Minnesota native, but I figured it out finally. But your inner layer, you're gonna want a synthetic polyester or something that's moisture wicking, and then you wanna do your fleece on top of that, and then your big old jacket on top of that. Anything cotton that's touching your skin can actually make you colder. It does start to warm up in April and the temperatures range from like 30 to 60 degrees. But trust me, that 30 to 60 feels awesome after a long winter. But you will get those last minute snowstorms. So we get, all the snow, most of the snow actually occurs in March. But then, you get those late April snowstorms. For example, last April, it got up to 80 degrees and everybody thought, we're like, okay, winter is officially over. But Minnesota does that every frickin' year. And no, it wasn't. It was 80 degrees and then a few days later we got several inches of snow. So there are some things that you can do to help you prepare for winter, and that one of them being definitely keep an eye on the weather, whether that's your weather app, whether that's the Weather Channel. If there's a snowstorm, make sure that you plan ahead, because it can take you 3 times longer to get somewhere, especially if you have to leave when there's already traffic, because I can guarantee there's going to be somebody that's spun out, and then it's just going to add to the traffic. Sometimes there's like a bunch of accidents at the same time. So just plan ahead just in case. Another thing you should do is definitely put your windshield wipers up before a snowstorm. It's a huge pain in the ass if the temperature drops and they freeze to your windshield, and then you have all the ice that's just like smearing ice, so you can't even see out of your windshield anyway. So it's a good idea, very helpful if you just put those up the night before a snowstorm. If you are gonna live in the cities, just be aware of snow emergencies. So whenever we have a huge snowstorm, they're gonna declare it, and then starting at 9 p.m., you can't park on any of streets that say snow emergency. And then that goes till 8 a.m. the next day, and then you can't park on odd or even that day, and then the next day it's the opposite. So I highly recommend getting the snow emergency app, because one winter I spent freaking like $1,000 on getting my car towed, and that's before they came out with the app. And that's half the time it was just because I mixed up the days. I parked on the odd side when I was supposed to park on even, and then vice versa. So get the app, it'll save you a lot of money. A good thing about living in downtown Minneapolis is for those like super frigidly cold days, they do have a Skyway system. So they're enclosed pathways that cover, I think 80 blocks or something. If you have to go from building to building in downtown Minneapolis, you can actually do that while you're inside. Going back to car stuff, the cities are really good at plowing pretty quickly, most of the time I should say, but they do use salt on the roads. And so what happens is you drive and then all that snow is kicked up on your vehicle, and salt actually causes your vehicle to rust. I highly recommend to get like a package of car washes, because it's going to be cheaper that way. And then your car's not going to get as rusty as you see like a bunch of other cars in Minnesota. Another thing you should do is, if your car can take it, I honestly don't know how it works, get some 5W30 oil. Because of the viscosity difference, it flows better in colder temperatures, so it's better for Minnesota weather. Okay, one more car thing, because this is important too. Highly recommend to not drive with bald tires. You want to make sure that you have a good amount of tread. There are some people here that actually drive with winter tires, so they switch their tires out every winter. I think that's a huge pain in the ass. I have all season tires and just make sure that it has a good amount of tread, and I've been totally fine. I don't even have all-wheel drive or anything, but definitely not, you definitely don't want to be driving with ball tires in Minnesota. I think that's probably kind of obvious, but just in case, for anybody who doesn't know. As far as preparing your house for winter, super good idea to get your furnace tuned up or checked out, whatever, because the last thing you want is if it gets down to, because it will probably get down to -20 at some point during the winter, the last thing you want is for all the furnace companies to be, or HVAC companies, to be busy, and then they can't make it out to your house and you're freaking freezing. So good idea to get it tuned up. You'll be super grateful. Another thing, which is something I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this preparation will actually help you avoid the basement flooding. Get your house graded. Get the exterior graded. What that means is that the soil's sloping away from your foundation. You can have a landscaping company do this, or look up YouTube videos. That's what I did. You want it sloping away from your foundation, because when all the water from the snow and the ice, or even like rain, when it gets into your foundation, it starts to crack it, and then eventually it can seep into your basement. 90% of any basement water issues have to do with gutters, either gutters that are full or damaged or don't have the proper extensions, and improper grading. So if you want to avoid that, make sure you grade your house before the winter comes. Watch this video next if you want to know 7 tips to survive winter, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.